People have been asking about a greenhouse update, and it's time, I guess. So it's just after Thanksgiving. It is about 30 outside, and this is going to be a real update. I didn't clean anything up. This is just how it is. And if you've watched the other updates, you can see that this is not quite done yet. Life has a way of changing. So this is what it is. As you can quickly tell, there is weeds all over the place. And however good I intended to do by getting soil from the mountain that had never been sprayed, this is the result of that. If someone else is going to do a greenhouse, I would recommend what I had also been told, and that's to get sterilized soil, because that's what you get. And this is, not having done anything for a couple months. The strawberries that were in the gutter, if you'll remember my last video, I suggested that the gutter was to keep the strawberries in place. And as you can tell, that was complete fantasy. I've got strawberries all over the wall, all the way down here. I've got strawberries in the path down here. The strawberries are good. They produce for a couple of months, and they stay alive all year long. Is that worth the trouble? I don't know. Got several little ornamentals, the rabbit's foot fern in here. And when I came in, you might or might not have noticed this monstrosity. I am getting older, and bending over to tend the ground down here is not fun. So I decided I was going to build up raised beds with individual areas to walk in, so you can reach everything. And that's as far as it got, maybe 2 months ago. That is a mop of asparagus that loves the greenhouse. Absolutely loves it. A few more ornamentals, and as I wanted, moss has grown all over the inside of the soil wall. Again, the weeds. I'm going to put sterilized soil in here so I don't have to fight weeds for the rest of my life. I was opposed to spraying, but experience has taught me differently. I'm going to put everything in raised beds except for the trees, and then just spray whatever pops up down here after I put gravel in it. Speaking of spraying, I had done everything naturally, had not sprayed anything, so I'd let the insects go unchecked. I had carnivorous plants in here, I had praying mantises, and I had spiders. And although I love jumping spiders, and almost all spiders, the spiders that took over were of the toxic variety. So I had black widows everywhere in here. So unfortunately, I had to bug bomb the greenhouse yesterday. So I had a small moment of silence in here for all the jumping spiders. I tried to save all the praying mantises, the few that were left, in November. So, I've got a few carnivorous plants that got a little too dry before I modified the watering system. That's another thing I want to talk about. If you remember last video, the aloe has taken over. It was pathetic. A little potted peace lily that was pathetic is now strong like bull. And the bananas, they have not produced, but that's a 12-foot peak, and these trees are supposed to be 8 foot tall. It's a dwarf banana. And I've got a lemon tree. It doesn't produce a whole lot, but it does produce. And the little tiny fig that I had in a pot last year grew. That's the one coming back from the roots, but the one that was in here was all the way against the ceiling and out. So I had to rip it out, and that's come back. That's a lime tree. I don't know what's wrong with it. It won't produce. It's not happy. But it is 30 outside, and in here it is 60. And I've done nothing other than let it be. The oregano and the chives are doing good, but they're a little overwatered at the moment. So the watering system. What I've done with my watering system, simple. And I just modified it. I had the rubber hose laying on the ground, and it was the little dinky stuff that the irrigation store sells. A hose timer. Run up, and the hose goes around in a loop around the top. I've got an ugly board supporting the hose as it crosses. So just got the hose and a couple of little spray nozzles appropriately placed to water everything. And it works really well, as long as it's working and nothing's clogged. And the batteries don't die on the hose timer. That's the not fun part of that. I brought Spanish moss from Florida and hung it. And it's doing fine, I guess. There's a few sprigs of it around. If anybody is going to be doing a greenhouse, another suggestion that I would do, I put in these ultra bright LED lights because I like a lot of light and I wanted to keep the electricity cost down. Well, the result of that is that LEDs do not produce heat, as you should know. In the winter, it would be good if they produced heat. So if I had it to do again, and I still might do it, is to take these really nice LEDs out and put a simple incandescent fixture in with maybe 2 bulbs apiece. Because with the Christmas lights you see hanging about, I just have to turn those on when it gets below 20 outside. And if it gets below 20 outside, which is not that often here in the mountains of North Carolina, I have to do something else. And if I could just turn the lights on, that would be great. Now, you probably noticed the rocket mass heater sitting here, apparently unused. This is a correct assumption. It is not even yet finished. As I mentioned, life has a way of changing, and my current life does not allow for a tremendous amount of downtime to finish this, nor sit out here for 3 hours at a time to stoke a fire. So with it being unused, probably the same blasted black widows that were around in the greenhouse have built webs in there, and the draft no longer works. Now I'm sure I could clean it and make it work, but the rocket mass heater is an active use item. You have to be here all the time to do it. It takes up a tremendous amount of real estate in here. So more than likely what I'll do is replace the lights, and at some point when I have time, never, probably, take the rocket mass heater out and build more raised beds. So that is the greenhouse, an honest, somewhat unfortunate update, but it is still working good. It's happy. I don't have to do anything to that end down there. It just does itself, and this end, fighting the weeds. But after I build a raised bed all in this area, it will do good. Now, my camera claims that it's about to die, so I got to do a cow bit, I guess. So there's Daisy, the livestock dog. Hey, baby! She lives out here with them. And I've got 5 cows now. I'm only seeing 2, but you see the one with the horns? That's Elsie. She was in the last video, and that one is Daisy May, or Ellie Mae. So